Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toy Geeks. My name is Jay Gladfelder from Geek Dad Life.
And I'm Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy.
And we're here to dive into your favorite toy lines 1 year at a time. And we are here tonight to dive into 1988, year 2 of Kenner's Real Ghostbusters toy line. And joining us tonight is, now a Real Ghostbusters legend, sculptor of the upcoming phenomenal Real Ghostbuster figures from Mondo, the wonderful, the one, the only Alex Brewer. Alex, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. You're too kind. But yeah, I'm stoked to talk some Real Ghostbusters, where it all started.
I mean, it's kind of one of the things. One, it's you don't just do you've done a lot of really cool sculpts for Mondo.
Thank you.
And I think maybe your calling card is your ability to kind of take animated characters like animated cells and then transpose those in 3 dimensions. And so like when you did your not even asked to do it, just for funsies, Ghostbuster drawings a year and a half or something like that ago.
Yeah.
I feel like you could only do that if you really, really loved it. Is that true? Was it from a place of love?
Oh yeah. So I mean, totally. I grew up with the show and the toys, and it was definitely one of the early properties that was near and dear to my heart. But yeah, I was also just like, I kind of felt like just like my sort of kind of my natural leanings as a sculptor. It's like I feel like I already know what these like cartoon designs would look like in 3D.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I was doing it like in my spare time, in the month of October, like leading up to Halloween. I was like, could I do like 4 figures, as a concept? Like, would I be able to do that in time for Halloween? I just kind of had this like, I like knew in my head like what I wanted to look like, and yeah, I got there in the end, and thankfully I did, because now they're a real toy line. So.
They're a real toy line. I'm very fortunate to have gotten the press review sample here, and it's again, I know I'm biased, so I feel like I gotta say that because I probably would love this if it sucked, but these don't suck. Like they're really good. Because what I think you did really well is like you gave it articulation, but like none of the cuts or anything feel like they take away from looking like it's a 3-dimensional character brought to life. And it just yeah, anyways.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to like to capture the kind of like lumpiness of their jumpsuits and the animation. Yes. And it was like finding that right balance of like articulation so they can get in the poses that you want them to get in, but you don't lose that sort of silhouette from the show.
But also the fact that you have all this paint, but you got pretty close on the joints too, like the color, because that's not painted, so that won't get all like gross and messed up. But
yeah, and it's easier to tell in person than it doesn't really translate to camera. But there's like a sort of subtle shading to everything. Like it's not just like a flat paint paint color. Like our painter Mark Bristow's also like the biggest Ghostbusters fan. He did an amazing, very subtle color gradient kind of airbrushing on these figures, and the factory replicated.
They kind of capture like the shadows too, and like it's kind of dynamic.
Yeah, we didn't go like full cell shaded, but yeah, Sam Hain, you can really tell like kind of on the head there and the robes.
Anyway, just bravo. I can't wait for everybody else to get these in hand. I know they're got a little bit longer to go here, but just bravo. Really, really cool. It's a dream come true. And so glad that you're here to be able to talk the original Real Ghostbusters toys. But before we came on the show, before we hit record anyway, Alex, you made an inflammatory statement to our co-host here, Dan. What did you say, Alex?
I said, this is a kind of a rough Toy Geek series on Dan because he clearly hates Ghostbusters with a passion. It's all right. Not every property connects.
No, yeah, I have diary entries going back to the 80s, talking about just how single-mindedly I hate this franchise. It distracts me. My hatred distracts me from everything else in life. I was toxic before toxic existed.
Well, I'm sure we'll unpack that. But
It's, you know what? It's nothing that free stuff from Mondo wouldn't fix.
all right.
Good play, Dan. Good play.
No, I mean, I look as a fan. I like the movies are great. I liked all the movies. I even liked 2016. But it's just not one of those franchises that, for whatever reason, it just didn't connect with me beyond the movies as a kid, and so I don't have that really nostalgic attachment to it. And while Ninja Turtles and some of the other sort of, and I always think of Ghostbusters as being a 90s franchise, even though it isn't.
Yeah.
Even though some of those franchise I ended up having some experience with through my younger brother. He was born in 85, although I think that's when you were born, right, Jay?
I'm 85.
Yeah, so you still have that connection as well. He didn't get into it either. So Ghostbusters was never his thing either. So it just never entered really like my house, my, my collection, his collection. And I just never had that attachment to it. And so I can appreciate the vintage toys for what they are, the series for what it is, the movies for what they are. I just can't apply my own personal experience with it, except as a dealer. And some of that will come into play tonight with easily broken pieces on action figures that you're trying to sell.
It's true.
Can't imagine what you're referring to.
We're talking about an infamous one today in '88. But I was
top 10 all timer. Yeah.
It's funny, just in the comments for this episode, some people are kind of siding with Dan. But I think my favorite comment from last week is from Chris. He says, Dan is so salty in this one.
I think somebody had mentioned that I had tuned out and was eating ice cream. That had nothing to do with the conversation. That was just, I had ice cream and it was melting. And what am I going to do? The longer I wait, the meltier it's going to get.
What was great is before we went on record or hit record, your ice cream arrived right before.
Exactly. As we were starting, I was like, friggin' heck.
Get some bites in real quick.
It's gonna melt, well, Jay, your passion for Ghostbusters is so intense. Dan, you're balancing it out. It's good.
Exactly.
It's good,
We bring balance to the force. But I did want to ask Dan, after we had episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Did it has it grown on you a little bit? Or are you still kind of where you were at? Did anything change?
That name could have worked for Ghostbusters. They could have called it The Phantom.
It really
it's true.
No, I'm in the same spot I've always been.
My hope it's kind of like a Grinch thing, like your heart rises by the end of the series.
Yeah, maybe going forward I associate it with delicious ice cream from Dairy Queen, not a sponsor.
Could be though. Dairy Queen.
But you guys achieved that with the power of the Force, because I feel like a lot of people are now looking at, and myself included, are looking at those toys being like,
I feel like when I see toy stores and stuff now, maybe some videos of people out toy hunting at conventions and whatever, there's a lot more. I know there was already Power of the Force 2 stuff out there, but I feel like it's even more prominent now.
I've had a few people send me pictures of their toy stores where they said, this was once full of Power of the Force 2, and look at how thin it is. And blame our little. I swear to God, I don't have my phone, but I will send you the pictures, Dan.
I was at a toy shop in Alexandria, Virginia this week, Thursday, Friday, and they had plenty of stock left. So
they don't listen to our podcast in Alexandria, I guess.
They did not recognize me, so thumbs down for that store.
Wait, you're not going to give me anything? What is going on?
What is this?
But yeah, no. I'm so appreciative that Dan allowed us to do this series.
Before we move on, I actually did want to ask Alex a couple questions real quick about doing the figures with Mondo in general. One, as I understand it, this project came about at least partially because you had already done your sort of fan art versions, right?
Yeah.
How does in your experience, because in creative industries there's like you do things on spec, right? Like they solicit you and they say, hey, can you produce this thing for me, take a swing at it, see, and maybe that never actually comes to fruition. But there's the other side of the creative industry where it's like fan art and fan productions and those sort of things, and it's almost like you're sort of casting a wish out into the world and hoping that it is good enough to get picked up. Is that something, because I know you have other franchises that you sort of just put your own versions out there. Was there any hesitation on your part to put those Ghostbusters designs out there as almost like, maybe if I put this out here, then they can't be done, then they might not get done?
Well, it was kind of it seemed like that was the case to begin with. It was sort of like I had heard sort of anecdotally from other people like, oh, that's a license that it's really hard. Like, people have tried in the past and didn't, I just always heard, I always kind of like heard, like, oh, there's a reason why, you don't really see a lot of those figures. But I mean, I don't, clearly that proved to be not
the old saying, where there's a will, there's a way. There was a will to get that done. Yeah.
But I did it because like, I don't post things that it's like where there is a possibility that could be something, because I don't want to like spoil anything or make it seem like, and I can't post anything that like I work on for work. Right. So I was kind of, part of it was like, I hadn't really been able to post anything on social media for a while, since, being full time, because everything I was working on was like top secret stuff. So this was something where it's like, well, this isn't a property we have. Like, it'll be a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And I put like fan art concept on the images, mainly because like I was like, well, some people do know that I do this for a living. Like, I don't want people to get like all excited and think like, oh, is this real? Like, I want to see like right away that like, I mean, not to like say that it looked real, but like, I just
things spread fast. Yeah.
I didn't want people to think that was some sort of like announcement or something. So, so that's why I did that. But yeah, I mean, I was like pleasantly surprised to find out that, it was something that we could do and have now done.
Yeah. Well, and then the other question I had, maybe it's more of a comment, I'm not sure, is that when you're taking something that has only existed in 2 dimensions traditionally, and I'm gonna exclude the Kenner figures on this, there is that, because you need to go back to your own sort of sense of how should these things be translated into 3 dimensions, right? Like, yes, there are model sheets for those character designs that exist and sort of character turns and whatever, but those aren't always consistent, and the way that the characters are rendered on the show are not always consistent. And I think sometimes, depending on the person who's doing that work, I hate to say you have to be a fan, to get something done, but I think a fan does come at it with a different sort of sense of, how is that hair going to sit when you see it from 3/4, from the side, from the back, should I put a little bit more there, was that part of your process to sort of fill in the blanks and make it consistent, from angle to angle?
Yeah.
And then also to not over design it, because you do need to keep it simple.
Totally. And yeah, I've kind of, sometimes have this kind of like a self-consciousness of like, there's like Venkman's hair, like his hair, the hair in the Ghostbusters is a perfect example. It's like, there's not a whole lot of detail in terms of like individual strands and stuff, but it's like that's truer to the animation. The jumpsuits, like they're not, the old Kenner toys are like had more wrinkles and stuff. But again, it's like, that's not how they look most of the time on the show. And I want to capture the way they were drawn most of the time in most episodes.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's some temptation to put like some greeblies or whatever on the Proton pack and the wand and everything.
Yeah. Because we've gotten like with the Diamond Select figures, those were like a realistic take on the real Ghostbuster design. So it's like, I want to do like a straight like cartoon, like adaptation. But yeah, I mean, it's like being a fan, like it really helps, like, with Batman the animated series or X-Men the animated series. I've seen those shows so many times. It's like, well, I kind of immediately know like what episodes like are sort of my go-to for like them being drawn what I think to be like really well. It's like, because also like and Real Ghostbusters is the same thing. It's like some of the animation studios, yeah, some of it's rough, and some of it is just like, it's so well drawn. You're like, yes, I know what that looks like in 3D. And so
like Slimer's butt, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, it needs to be in 3D. It's very three-dimensional, even in the cartoon. But yeah, no, I mean, there's some episodes where it's like the animation team from like that did like Akira like work on it, and so you're like, okay, yeah, it's you're gonna see like very well rendered depictions of those designs. So
And the shading is so subtle on this. Like it's a light touch.
yeah, I'm really happy with because like it's oftentimes with figures like you see you know the paint masters look beautiful, right? Because it's you know
Yes.
a one off, you know, somebody with an airbrush like making this thing really shine, but then the final product that never translates, right? It's always either just
Mhm.
bare plastic or it's just a flat, you know, deco, because that costs a lot of money, deco. But because of the price point of these figures, like we can like give that paint master level treatment to the final product, which I was really happy to see.
Because what I really like too is like say like NECA does a pretty good job with the paint on their Toon figures, but it's kind of globby and can break off really easy and stuff like. But like to your point, like the paint is so like it. I don't worry. I mean, I'm sure I could probably mess it up, but it's just it feels really high quality, and looks it too. Because yeah, even then, like seeing y'all is like when you're showing the paint masters, are like, oh, it looks pretty good, but we'll see when it's in person. So yeah, you definitely get a sense that you know y'all flex the budget here on the paint for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love being able to get to do that too. Like it's just very, you know, very uh I never would have dreamed that like you know if these figures these figures would become a reality, and B that they would be executed, you know, to this degree in the final
awesome.
product.
Yeah.
So
What for y'all since you've done it all on 12-inch scale. This is a 6-inch or 6-ish inch
yeah.
scale, right? So
Mhm.
um like to have that Mondo detail here is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that was our goal with these was to translate that the level of quality that we put into our 1/6 scale into 1/12. So
Because even like the Sam Hain episode, or when Halloween was Forever, his first one, that is not one of the well animated ones.
yeah, but the second Sam Hain episode,
Exactly.
that episode is beautiful. I think that was the like some of the Akira animators. That is like Ghostbusters the anime, Ghostbusters the movie. I
It
think
is.
it's definitely like the season 2, or it's like the Janine redesign. It's like, you know, it's the
Yeah,
less loved
Dave Coulier is Peter,
yeah,
which I'm not as big a fan of,
but
but
the
the
but the
animation
animation is so good. Yeah.
it's incredible. Um, yeah, so freaking cool. Well done. So yeah, I think Winston come out soon? I know you have the teaser. Is that this
Yeah.
week maybe? Or
Well, I can't say,
you
but
can't say.
yeah, the teaser is out there.
Um,
So pretty soon. We don't you know, we don't wait too long in between teasing it. And
we used to Carnage today, right? So
Carnage drops tomorrow, or I guess when this will air.
I guess
So
maybe Carnage has your slot.
now, now Jay, I can't help but notice that
Yeah.
your Venkman, I hope you don't make the same mistake that Toy Shiz made of
What did he make?
not properly attaching the trap.
Oh, I haven't. Let me make you big. I haven't attempted it yet. I just opened them up yesterday. I'm slow going it here, but
So on the show, so this is a bendy
yeah,
wire
it is.
cable. So the way they do it on the show is they kind of like it kind of loops down like this, and
Mhm.
it coils, and so you've got this is actually like the connector peg that they have in the model sheets on the show. Like
Mhm.
it and this little peg here is actually part of the Proton pack design. You know, it's
Yep.
like they're almost like they were being designed with like toys in mind, you know. And so
Yeah.
it just like on the show, it just plugs onto the side, and
Mm.
then this kind of coils around this like
Oh, the
hook
little
area
hoop.
down there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I did have actually one question about the Proton pack. I haven't done that yet. I will. I'll do it for the review. But the one question I had was, how sturdy is this clip port? This is the only part that felt like, oh man, I could easily break this. Is this little clip really strong?
Um,
Like how well reinforced?
I mean, it's pretty like. So I've been messing with various samples for a while, and I've never had an issue like feeling like even the plastic stressing or feeling like it's it yeah, I would definitely. It's a very thin piece.
Very thin, but it's very rigid.
Yeah, it's rigid. I mean, again, very show accurate because they really do have this little clip there as part of the design. But I would just be careful with all this stuff. Like, but and the proton pack. I mean, the particle thrower does attach in a very specific way. So I would just you've got it right. It's like there's like a sort of thinner part like down at the base of the handle. And that's what's designed.
There's like this little, this part kind of shoots out over it, so you got to put it in the other way so that it's in there.
So basically, if you consult the show, that'll tell you how to.
If you're a real fan. Anyway, I'm over the moon. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful and grateful that you did put that fan art out there, Alex, because I was one of those fans that overreacted when you posted it. Just like, oh my God, these are so good. My bully pulpit as a YouTuber, I'm going to just shout from the highest mountains how great this is.
Well, I mean, Jay, you really got the word out. Like it all, like the fan response really helped get these over the finish line, or just get people to say like, oh, there's a demand for this. Big demand. And we have a lot of fans, at Mondo and at Funko that like really championed this line too. But it was like, it was amazing. It was like an amazing moment of like kind of like the toy collector community and the Ghostbuster community all kind of like saying like with one voice, we want figures of real Ghostbusters. It's been too long.
It has. I mean, you could say since this original toy line, I guess you had the Diamond Select, you had a couple little things, but a proper real Ghostbusters toy line, we haven't had it since this Kenner line that we're digging into. And the year we're here to talk about is 1988, year 2, which included figures that, according to Craig, who was on last week, was Kenner's kind of original pitch for the toy line, which was the Fright Features toy line, which I can't wait to get Craig's book and kind of dive into that. But for you, Alex, like what was the toy line? Because some of your original concept, it incorporated Kenner type stuff, including the Fright Features Egon. But what was the original toy line for you as a kid growing up?
Well, I was trying to remember like where Ghostbusters started for me, because I was born in '86, and so I was asking my parents like, I don't know how I found out about real Ghostbusters. I don't know where it came from. I remember like I obviously watched the cartoon. I had some of the figures, but I think like the earliest evidence is like we have like a Christmas morning of like 1989 where I got a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and was like singing the theme song and stuff. So like clearly I like knew about it by 89 at least. And I remember in terms of like the toys, I think the first thing I had was like a color form set, like a Ghostbusters color form set. And those were like my figures for a while, because you had all 4 guys and a bunch of ghosts, and it was like, they were stickers, but like it worked.
I mean, okay, I'm curious, Dan, about your thoughts on this too. Color forms. Did we all have our favorite color forms set? Dan, like, did you have a bunch of color forms? What was your color form of choice?
I definitely had them. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any specific ones that I had. I definitely remember having the G.I. Joe, the magic rub ones. I can't remember what those were called off the top of my head either. But definitely had color forms. I remember I thought they were neat, like it was magic technology.
Sure, yeah.
But frustrated that they weren't actual toys.
But they would work in a pinch, I felt like, because I had the Ghostbuster ones as well.
It was definitely a fun activity, yeah, for sure.
In an iPad-less world, like it kind of worked. If you're at a car ride or at grandma's house or something, like
good for 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
the novelty wears off.
Or they lose their stickiness. They get
that too.
static.
Yeah.
They start to roll up and yeah. So it's short lived, but yeah. And I remember I definitely had the first like Ghostbusters figures I had were the Fright features. I had this was like one of my favorite toys as a kid. Fright features Egon, and I had the Fright features Venkman. And I remember like getting those in package. So I don't know if they were like if it was 1988 because I would have been 2.
But they were they had them on shelves.
That's what I mean. I may have gotten them on like clearance or whatever. And I remember like at my Ghostbusters, there was like a weird mix because like the Winston I had I think was like the Screamin' Heroes Winston, and the Ray was the Super Fright feature. So it was like a real like I never had the like Wave 1 like those were like long gone. I feel like by the time I was getting into it, but
they kind of I think and I don't know if Allison got this in the research or not, but I think Series 1 made it through 89.
Oh, okay.
But it was probably harder to find by 89, and then they re-upped the kind of regular Ghostbusters with the Power Pack Heroes in 1990. And then that's they had the cool like 90 way colors, and then also that year they had the Slime Pack Heroes, which brought the purple Proton packs. So those were there in 1990. But
I remember when those came out because that was like the first chance to get like the ones where they looked like how they did on the show or whatever. Even though Egon was like bright green and none of the colors were right, but it was close enough. Like
in a pinch. We'll talk as we get in there. But for me, there's a lot of great stuff in 1988, and I brought for today's show. I forgot it last time. I have the year. I have the Toy Fair magazine from 1988, and what I love about these Toy Fair guides. So we have Always Sisters. Everybody loves that one.
Never heard of it.
Wish World Kids.
Never heard of it.
No? What the hell?
Putting it on the list.
How about this one? Fashion Star Phillies.
Nope.
Is this from an alternate reality?
These are real toys.
These are real future Secret Galaxy episodes.
Yeah, this is Kenner on fire actually going out of business.
How about Forever Friends?
That one I've heard of, yeah.
You heard of Forever Friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not Skyball.
No Skyball?
I don't know what
Skyball. Starting lineup, everybody knows that one.
Spirograph. Big Oven, Spirograph, Sit and spin.
What about Special Blessings?
Nope. You're gonna have to show pictures of all this stuff. This episode is now going through the Kenner catalog.
Here's the Always Sisters.
What the?
Huh.
Like
I know them.
Baby sisters. That's the whole.
So they were making new haunted dolls in the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fresh spirits.
And then we got Skyball. So I guess
there's Skyball. All right. Still don't. Nope. Never heard of that one. Never saw that net.
Never let it fall.
Yeah.
Catch the action with Skyball sports toy. Yeah, man. Wish World Kids.
I don't know that one. Huh.
Wow.
Kind of like a Polly Pocket kind of deal. Like it opens up into a place.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Huh.
Let's see. Yeah, more Wish World Kids.
Yeah.
Like they got little cars and stuff.
In my defense, I was a child of the 80s, as we all were, and this stuff was not marketed directly to me.
It's true. This was girly toys. We couldn't play these.
Wait, go back a page, Jay. Yeah. Is at the bottom there? Is that a Lucille Ball with conveyor belt? Oh no, it's a bowling alley.
It's a bowling alley, but kind of looks like Lucille Ball.
I say it's a I Love Lucy branded.
Yeah,
tapping into it. It was still only like 10 years old at this point. All right, so a lot of Wish World. Oh, look at this set with the stage and everything.
That looks vaguely familiar.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that it collapses into a little boombox there.
Yeah.
They're pretty good little toys.
That's not bad. Yeah.
We covered Mask Split Seconds, and
we will get to MASH. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, man, I love my dad watched MASH every single
toys,
day. And they did have toys. I bought him those toys actually for Father's Day one year. He still has them on display in his office. So Mask, but okay, this is what I do love about the old Toy Fair guides. They put the old planograms.
Oh yeah.
I love it so much.
This is great content for our audio listeners.
I know, sorry. Forever friends.
That's ridiculous.
So I guess you just wear them around your
why not?
neck.
Ooh, that looks dangerous.
Right?
That's like that's like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Right? I'll give them to your toddler. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it just hooks around your neck.
Posh Puff Kittens. That's fun. All right, Silverhawks. We all know those. Fashion Star Phillies. They're horses.
Phillies. All right.
So there you go. Yeah, if you're listening to this, I'm so sorry. Yeah, they're fancy horses.
We're looking at pictures of horses.
And they're really fancy.
Old My Little Pony.
Bone Age.
Yeah.
That's a deep.
It's quality toy line. It's fun. A lot of the plastic hasn't held up. They have these like clicking sort of connector pieces, and all the connectors are breaking and dying.
I have the T-Rex. I'm just not going to move it. But yeah, Special Blessings is like, I guess, like a Christian toy line.
Actually praying.
Yeah, hold on. Pages, they've kind of like stuck together. Yeah, they pray.
Hey. I have never heard of any of these. Or I guess
Sky Commanders,
Sky Commanders. And I've heard of Silverhawks, although I was like, it was fairly recently that I ever heard of Silverhawks to begin with.
Oh, interesting. I mean, it's a deeper cut. And you were 86 baby, so you're younger than me. Sky Commanders, Play-Doh, but then we've got, what do we got? These. Oh, here we go.
Oh, now we're there. Now
this
we're talking.
is what we're here for. Kids everywhere will be watching them 6 days a week in the Real Ghostbusters animated TV series, beginning the fall of '87. 65 new syndicated programs and 13 new network shows. Man, Kenner knew what they had here. It's Hotline. But Fright features were new that year. What I love about the Toy Fair guides, though, it's like it's the back of the card, but the art is so big and glorious. But
this magazine was a good score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you can find them, usually in Ohio they have a ton of them because Kenner was there. But just great stuff. We're gonna be digging into all this, but it goes to show like stuff that was in '87 in year one was still being released in 1988 as well. So original Ecto one, the plushies, the popper, and then the ghost zapper. But of course, Proton pack is new. The Firehouse is new. But again, you look at the planogram, and it's just
what a time to be alive.
Right, just imagine going down the toy aisle and having this glorious display. But yeah, so first series was still part of the planogram in '88, and I think in the '89 one, there's still some series 1 figures. Actually, all of these are still in there.
It looks like they phased out Ray.
I know, right? He's behind there. He's behind Peter or something. But anywho, I love those books so much. If you ever get a chance, get an old Toy Fair magazine. It's a good read. You can learn about, what is it? Christmas blessings, Christian blessings,
special blessings, special blessings.
Oh my God! All right, let's dive in to this year more properly. Should we start with the Fright features? I think that's what we're probably most excited about, right?
I just went through a existential roller coaster of talking about color forms, finding out that there's a vintage Advanced Dungeons and Dragons color form set with Warduke in it, and then also finding out that it's $125 is the going rate. And I'm not going to spend that much on a vintage color forms set. There it is.
That's something you never even knew
until 5 minutes ago. Yeah. To get one little Warduke sticker that doesn't stick to anything.
Well, maybe like someone would just have the sticker out there and you that, you know?
Can't you make your own at this point? Like you should be able to use
for sure.
buy printer paper that can do this.
Yeah, just make my own stickers. Do my own make my own stickers.
But it's taking forever to load. Good Lord. Anyway, yeah, sorry, it's all grainy. But yeah, no, $200. Eesh. Keep your eyes open at flea markets, people. And then if you find one, send it Dan's way. All right. 88 Fright features. We'll kick off with the Egon because, you know, he's the one that I think out of this is the Egon the best one. They're all really good.
Well, it's a hard. I think like aesthetically, I like the color scheme of Egon the best.
Mhm.
Uh, Mechanically, though, I think we'll talk about. But I'll have to. I'll tell you who I think mechanically when we get there is the best.
Well, so the famously, this Egon's tie breaks. So this is a vintage one that's in my collection. And even though this is like pretty much a, fresh mint from card, the tie is not broken. But it brings over that like classic, all of them have that classic Kenner, what they brought with superpowers, where you pull down the arm, his head pops up, and he's like, oh my god.
You can really hear this one.
Ah. And then even in the commercials, they would use it like to make like puppets, like they were talking. Watch out, Ray.
It's effective. It works.
Don't cross the streams. But anyways, this one, Fate, like the white plastic, this, even though it's like fresh from the card, you can see the plastic cancer starting to build up on its legs.
Yeah, I before the Hasbro re-releases, I wanted to. This was one I was always kind of like on the lookout for at like toy shows or toy shops.
Mhm.
So hard to find one that isn't like just like disgusting and like sticky
Right.
and
This
gross.
one I got it years ago, on card, but the bubble had come off, so I was like, oh, this is perfect for me. And so yeah, so it's as nice and clean as it can be, but even in that situation, the plastic just degrades.
The blonde hair hasn't been rubbed off.
Right? Look, it's so clean, and it's tragic that the legs are starting to go. But
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. But these you can find, to your point, Alex, like in really bad shape.
Yeah.
Really, really bad shape. But yeah. Did you have this one as a kid, Alex?
Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite toys at that, like 3 years old. I have like specific memories of like being on vacation, like walking around with him. Like I have a weird specific memory of walking down a dirt road from like the house we were staying at for vacation, going maybe to the beach or something, but just walking down this dirt road, holding this Egon and being like, man, it doesn't get better than this. Like just love these colors, the like teal gloves with the white suit and the red, like so cool.
So good. And I know, it's a Kenner thing, so it won't ever be in the Mondo Real Ghostbusters thing unless some miracle happens or something. But it's a shame that you won't be able to like execute on that original fan card, because it's a cool looking colorway. Actually, all of these have really cool.
Yeah. In my initial Instagram post, like I did like a concept of the of Fright Features Egon, and I gave him a swappable tie, so you could have a broken tie if you wanted to make it look like most of our Egons when we were kids.
Yeah, I wonder how many survive to this day that are vintage that still have the tie. But here's the thing about that new one. Same as the Proton streams, which broke all the damn time. And they fixed them on the new ones. The ties on these new Fright Feature Egons are like damn near unbreakable.
Have you tested it? I'm afraid I don't want to test it.
I mean, it'll start to stress, but if you remember Ryan Dole, who's been a frequent guest on this show, had a goal to like break everybody's ties for the new Egons.
Yeah.
Because he felt it wasn't right that you could just go buy a non-broken tie Egon brand new. So he conspired with my wife during an after dark to break the tie on my new Fright Features Egon. It's happened in an after dark Patreon show on the Geek Dad live channel. And so she came in, and then she just tried to snap it. And she even tried to like twist it and everything, and the tie held together. The tie is still on.
Yeah, I think it's like just enough like waxy that it's not gonna good.
So if you got the new one, those ties are gonna hang together.
It's dull proof.
But yeah, I love the Egon Spangler. How about Fright Features Peter Venkman? I kind of always didn't like the galoshes.
Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, this one the color scheme isn't quite as fun. It's just kind of a gray. It's fun. Like it's interesting to think of like this alternate like ghost busting gear.
Yes.
Like it's cool because like he's probably wading through slime.
Mm-hmm.
He's got there's like kind of whatever you can find in your garage, like Egon, this is almost like a lab coat. That's why I liked it as a kid. Like plays up this like scientist side. But yeah, this is like, you're dealing with a messy situation. You might need this this suit. But yeah, this is the feature is pretty great.
That's so good.
The 2A is bold.
As a kid, I don't know if you can do it if they change it, but as a kid, I remember always like twisting it so it would get stuck up there. Like I don't know why. Like I don't know why as a kid.
Same thing. I did the same thing. And I would twist it all the way around to the back on the front of his face.
Yeah, you just want to put your figures to the test. Like I don't think you can do that with this one though.
Yeah,
once again, they have proof to these.
Probably for like safety reasons. But yeah, he definitely has kind of like a fisherman kind of thing because his weapon is a hook, and then he's got kind of the vest thing that like fly fishers would have or whatever.
Right.
And then he's got the waders. So I feel like and then I'm glad you brought that up. Like what I love about the companion ghosts and then their, whatever weapon they're using, it functions with the ghosts. So the gruesome twosome, it has a little knot there, and that knot like links in perfectly with the hook of his that he had there.
Because this you're technically getting two ghosts and their tails are intertwined.
Well, I would have cut those apart as a kid for sure. without question, I would just cut them apart.
I remember I loved this pack-in ghost. I don't remember. I have very few memories of the one that came with Egon, which is this like
sore throat.
Yeah, which
grabbed it. His little grabber grabbed it by his throat.
But I remember like the color. It's not coming up on camera, but it's sort of like this greenish blue color. It's like, yeah, that looks like Ecto. I mean, they both do, right? But like,
the first, I would say through 89, whatever plastic they use, that kind of translucent but not fully clear plastic, like it just looks so good, so good. And the re-releases did a pretty solid job of like getting there. Not perfect, but pretty close.
Right. It's the one thing that like it's not quite, because like the colors aren't as vibrant. They're a little more washed out in the new ones. So
Dan, in your toy selling days, did you have any of these? Did you like them?
Oh yeah. No, for sure. It's like you said, the Egon that tie was always broken. And so even if you had an otherwise mint, gorgeous, clean, white, bright sample, the tie was always broken. And I didn't know the accessories well enough at the time to just be able to match them up real quick. It was something I always had to look up to see who went with what. As toys, they're great. The engineering is fantastic. The idea to try to explore how to make the characters have emotion to be able to emote is a bold toyetic thing to do in the first place. Like G.I. Joe didn't do that, Star Wars didn't do that. Like how do you implement something like that? And so all credit to the designers and engineers that took that really abstract concept and communicated it into three-dimensional plastic form. That said, as a kid and growing into a teenager, I didn't love a gimmick that limited the posability of the figure or obstructed it, right? So like his arm is going to be at that 45-degree angle. Unless you're actually activating the mechanism.
No head movement. And the thing that drove me the craziest as a kid is that, because like, again, these are like the main Ghostbuster figures that I had, is the ventriloquist dummy
for sure,
that they're locked into. Like the Janine was probably the worst offender of that.
And it was frustrating because I remember getting the Janine and I was just so excited to get a Janine. Because she's a part of the crew, in the movie and in the show. And yeah, her feature, it did break it up. And for even me as a kid, while I really love the Fright features because they were a fun toy to play with, when I was truly acting out the show, like the show in my head, it was the first series figures because
Yeah.
they had proton packs. They looked like the characters from the show that I watched. And so those were my, main cast members. And then I went to the Fright features or the Super Fright features or the Screaming Heroes if it was like, a special case where they needed the different gear. But odds are it was going to be first series.
Yeah.
For those. And if you're a kid that didn't have those, like you, Alex, I'm bummed because it's you need to have those first series.
And it only got worse for me in terms of the accuracy. Like I said,
Right?
my Winston was the Screaming Heroes one with that
He's
weird
not
like
terrible, even though his face is kind of
he certainly doesn't look like anything they ever wore on the show. And the Ray was the like super one with the big helmet. So
the Super Fright features. Yeah, those again are kind of fun as a design, but if that's
they're brilliant.
That's
they're
what you
have.
have. So frustrating.
And you guys were saying that this was the first concept that Kenner pitched
Yes.
to do for Ghostbusters. I mean, it's brilliant. It's like okay, like it's like you said, Dan, like it's getting to the thing that makes Ghostbusters specific, which is like you're facing your fears. Like the Ghostbusters might encounter things that make them scared. So to create and to take and Kenner, they're like mechanical guys, it's like it's all about the like action features and the mech tech of the design. So to be able to like to apply that to like, can you make an action figure that can look scared in a crazy cartoony way? Like it's just so creative and so brilliant,
Agreed. And I think Craig talks about it in his book, or even talked about it last week. But they're like almost watchmakers in terms of all the internal like mechanisms.
Yeah,
that make the toy.
It reminds me of like old banks, like when you see like on the Antiques Roadshow, and there's like someone has like an amazing bank that does like a whole little animation. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chuck Jones, Tex Avery, making those guys proud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because it's all, and we'll see that with this Ray. Like it's all the like cartoony gimmicks, So
heavily,
like,
eyes bugging out,
the ears popping. I mean, this one is like super cartoony. Yeah,
exactly.
You can almost see like
that one. I will say that one looks
a
little like he's become sort of an alien mutant or something.
But I will say, out of all the Fright features, this Ray was one that could hang on a regular mission because in the movie he was around without the proton pack and his flight suit open, shirt exposed. And he brought the Ecto goggles. So this was the first time we had the Ecto goggles in toy form. Later we got it as a separate accessory. So I loved this Ray.
Yeah, and I love that he was wearing the t-shirt with the logo under. Like the idea that like the Ghostbusters have really like branded all their stuff. Their merchandising is
they're waving the shirts, at the end of the movie. So I was like, yeah, he's got one of the shirts they were waving there. They were blue in the movie, but still, I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I love it when like the X-Men wear like some school X branded shirt, t-shirt just for hanging around, like so yeah. This got into a specific flavor of Ghostbusters that you need to have.
Agreed. So good.
I did not have this as a kid. My friends had this one.
Okay.
And I always kind of like coveted it, but
it
was also always like covered in grime and dirt and stuff. So
I love his companion ghost, the Jail Jaw ghost, which was reused multiple times. So it was originally in this kind of like a reddish color, but then it was in the Trap, which I think is next, or maybe in 1990 you get the Trap. He's glow in the dark, and then he's glow in the dark again in Ecto Glow, but he has painted eyes. So they reused them a few times.
Yeah. This one, the color is unfortunately kind of off from what the original toy was in the repro.
Yeah, it's like more purpley red on the vintage one. I'm looking at it.
But it's cool because it's that like Ghostbusters 2 ooze color.
Yep.
Grab some like that.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then we've got Winston, if you have him right there. Yeah.
Oh, I do.
So the Winston famously, the original one broke all the time.
Oh, really?
Not the arm you push down to spin his head around, but the other arm, the one that's his normal arm, the pressure of just like squeezing it down on both sides, that
Oh,
other arm would just shear off. So you'll see a lot of times,
how ironic.
right? The unmechanismed arm is the one that breaks off. So you'll see that a lot with that Fright Features Winston.
So this one is what I was referring to. I said that mechanically the best one. Like I
It's
just
incredible.
It's
love
ridiculous.
this. It's in like I never had messed with this figure even. You know, I didn't have a friend who had it. So getting this repro was sort of my first time actually experienced doing the feature, and it's like it's amazing. His whole head just spins like a tornado, and yeah, I mean, and I think Super Fright Features Winston is also like the best of those two. So yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I love that. It's amazing.
It's definitely one that even when he's not activated, it does break up the face in a very strange way that looks like something alien.
Yes.
But it also, all of these do sort of lean into Beetlejuice territory, you know?
Yeah.
When they, you know, are intentionally deforming their faces to become scarier.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that going on here.
And so like 88, this is same year as the Beetlejuice movie, and then eventually Kenner does do the Beetlejuice figures, which we've covered on this show already. But yeah, no, I will say they improved the engineering on the re-release Winston, because I had that one as a kid. I had all the Fright Features as a kid, and that one specifically, it just, and even early on, like I remember this in the early 90s, it just wasn't as smooth. Like eventually the mechanisms just didn't keep it as smooth as that for very long. And I think that's what led to a lot of the arms breaking off. Because my original one, the arm broke off of it. But yeah, his little ghost can go over his head or go on the little, I don't know, hammer thing or whatever, mallet on.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's like, it's on me. And yeah, so and then this, yeah, what is it? It's like
It goes on the top, yeah. Or you put it on the bottom too if you want to do. But yeah.
Oh, it's got him.
So
quick, get the trap, get the trap.
So Fright Features, cool. And I think it's the best of the Fright Features, Screaming Heroes, and Super Fright Features. But to me, still doesn't quite beat the first series looks. And then we've got the mini ghosts. So we've got the mini shooter, the mini traps, and the goopers. I have the mini goopers and the mini shooters mint on card. I couldn't find the mini goopers. What was great about the mini goopers was they had a little can of ectoplasm. So if you find one of these mint on card, you get a little can of ectoplasm, which might be cheaper than buying a full can of ectoplasm. That's kind of expensive. But I had all of these. How about you, Alex? Did you have any of these?
Just as an aside, that sort of blue eyeball one on the first this one, that's Hector Arce, who's the art director at Mondo. That's one of his favorite ghosts, and he still has his figure.
The translucent plastic on these two is beautiful.
And do you put the slime on them, or is there some sort of feature?
So they separate the two sides. And you put the slime that it comes with inside of it, and then you kind of like pull them apart and goop them out and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And so since they're translucent, you see the slime inside of them as well, which is really cool.
Oh, that's sick.
Right?
Stomach Stuff's a good name too.
Wait, yeah, what are they? So yeah, stomach stuff and brain matter.
Yeah.
Love it. That's great.
But
yeah,
stomach stuff. I can't go to school. My stomach stuff.
I still use that for work. Some of those guys got stuff going on.
And if you ingest that ectoplasm, you can have stomach stuff. But yeah, personally, owning when I was a kid, it was the last ones, the mini traps, which was like, hours of like hurting your finger by pressing. It was like having like a mouse trap that like it hurt. Like I don't know why. Like as a kid, I just remember like over and over. Will it hurt this time? Like, ow! Will it hurt this time? It's like when like a a squirrel is like chewing on like a wire because they kind of like the like electric shock. Like it's like that, you know. It's like, oh.
No, it is if you have these, and these are ones that hold up the action feature pretty well. You open up and there's tongues on the inside, the plastic tongues. When you click on them, they just snap on you. And yeah, they got a lot of action on them. They probably wouldn't fly by today's toy standards.
They're sized just to hit the knuckle perfectly.
Right about here.
Because you open them up and they kind of like lock, and then if you press down on the tongue, it snaps over you. Which it's like really cool. You're supposed to put a figure on the tongue, not your finger. But as a kid, I didn't.
I don't know if I ever put the figures in. I always just put my finger in there.
I like to pretend that like maybe it was like when it was opened up is like disguised as like a bed. Or like a fainting couch, and like the figure would go to like lie down on it, and then it would like grab them, and it'd be like kind of over their head, and so like they'd almost be like possessed because it's like it's like mostly head.
Yes.
So it'd be like it's kind of like it would be like it's taking them over, and their like arms and legs would stick out the sides.
These cards, especially, I think it's this one here. I love how. In each year, so year 187 is the first series, classic looks, and then the 88 toys. Like if they featured a Ghostbuster, they were usually in like that year's style toys. So here you have the Venkman, the Fright features Venkman on the card art. Whereas like Bad to the Bone had like their classic, first series looks.
Well, they're selling the new wave. It's like,
right, exactly.
You got to get the Fright features Venkman to reenact this scene.
Exactly. And as we go into the later waves, the artwork would feature the Screaming Heroes or the Power Pack Heroes or what have you. So I always kind of dug the brand synergy between the two. I was able to quickly find I have the mini shooters here in box, and something again kind of unique about these was they were smaller cards. So if you have a vintage any of these, the cards are kind of big, but the mini shooters had a smaller card back. So just putting it next to a regular figure.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I dug these cards, and again, just a card back. There's nothing better.
And again, great names on those characters.
Yeah, what do we got here? We got
Bazooka and bullets.
Bullets.
Are these bullets? No, they're bullets.
I didn't even get that. I was like, bullets?
Initially, I thought they said Goozuka and Goolets.
Ooh, that would work too.
It's Boozuka and Bullets.
Can we acknowledge this art for a second? Like what?
It's great.
Their expressions are not. It's just like both of them are like, well, I guess this is happening now. Like they're not like spooking anyone. They're not particularly terrifying.
They're not kind of celebrating this relationship or their achievements.
I guess you shoot out of my mouth. Okay.
Here I go.
In the Jaska toy line, they reuse the molds for these ghosts a lot as like the companion ghosts. Which I don't know if we'll dive into those or not. But if you don't know, Jaska, an Argentinian company, actually paid Kenner for the license to do Ghostbuster toys in like 92, 93 or something like that, after the line was done in America.
Did they do those ones where the molds are the Wave 1 Ghostbusters, but they're painted to look like the Fright features colors?
Yes. Cool. And I have all of those. I got maybe we'll do that in the 91 episode or something. But yeah. So the mini ghosts, pretty cool stuff. And I think a lot of people have, because they're cheaper. They're just cheaper toys that you were more likely to get maybe if you begged your mom enough at the store.
Or it's like birthday, a friend coming to a birthday party, like,
as someone has to take a lot of kids to different birthday parties, I have also like, all right, what is something that's $20 or less? That's what you can get your friend.
Yeah.
Not spending more than $20.
Yeah.
Which is probably $5 in 85, 87 or whatever.
That's like the main toy driving. It's mostly parents shopping for other kids' birthdays.
Yes. Yep. And even, and our kids have so many toys. We just like at a birthday, like, you don't need to bring him any toys. He has plenty of toys. Just come have fun.
Yeah.
They still bring toys anyway. But Anyway, we had extra colors added this year to the ectoplasm, so we still had the purple.
Dan makes a note: do not invite Jay to my birthday party.
He's got enough toys.
I will get you presents, Dan. I just don't need any more for my kid. He's got too many.
How many Boba Fett's does one guy need, really?
At least one more.
I mean, what are you up to now on the Boba set? 5 something?
Yeah, I think it was 568 his last count. Somewhere around there.
Do you have an end goal? Or are you just going to keep it going forever in infinity?
Yeah, I think it's my health insurance plan. Sell them as I need to.
Well, you're going to end up cornering the market, and you'll be able to name your price. Like you'll have all of them. It sounds like you're going to have all of them eventually.
Right, because when there's some brothers that tried to like run the silver market or something, they tried to buy so much silver.
Jeez, yeah,
that's what you're doing with the Boba Fett.
Good luck. It's impossible. I did the math. I estimate there's at least 500,000 of them out there.
Yeah, easily.
It's like the De Beers of Boba Fett's.
Yeah, I don't even have 1% of them. Oh, nice print. Very nice.
Wow, hold on. Let's just share that real quick again now.
For sale at secretgalaxy.shop.
And it's signed, no less.
Wow. He usually charges a lot extra for that. Did you have to pay extra for the signature?
I don't know.
Signature's free.
All right, so we had extra colors added, purple, red. We showed these last week and showed that mine still are gooey. I've never owned the yellow or the blue ectoplasm, but I never owned it as a kid. Like I don't even know if I saw them or even kind of clocked them. But Alex, were you allowed to have ectoplasm as a kid?
I don't, definitely never ectoplasm. I had the like Ninja Turtles mutagen, because I had to get those baby turtles that glowed in the dark, so. But I didn't like slime. I remember you guys were talking about it last episode.
Okay, you did slime-averse, no slime.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, it's too, because I mean, also as a kid, like I had a tendency to like, like I sampled some Play-Doh every now and then, in terms of, and I with slime, like I
real quick about the Play-Doh. Can I just say something real quick? As someone that also always, even to this day, when my kids are playing with Play-Doh, I crack open a fresh can. I'm just like,
it's so salty.
The thing is, something that smells so good, and then you eat it, and it's the most gross, salty taste. I wish
every time you get a new can. Smells great. Terrible.
Here's the thing: can't Play-Doh make like edible Play-Doh that smells like Play-Doh but tastes good?
It's just called regular dough, Jay.
Yeah, it's just dough.
I think they added like an almond smell to it to make it smell good. I think that's the Play-Doh smells like an almondy smell.
And I would think it might be a good idea to have it deliberately introduce something that doesn't taste good so that kids don't eat this.
That's
stuff.
why they put a bitter taste in it so that you won't eat it. But now as a grown-up, I should be allowed to eat it if I want.
Yeah, Jay, pour some light cream in it, maybe. I don't know.
I just want edible Play-Doh. Is that weird?
A little bit of Splenda, maybe. Mix it up.
Because I love that smell.
I'm gonna send Colleen a message. Tell her to put some locks on the cabinets.
Just the other day, Alex has this ice cream making Play-Doh set, and I was the ice cream shop manager. I made a little ice cream sundae. I was like, that's pretty good.
Jesus. We've all got microplastics in our body. Jay's is full of Play-Doh.
It might counteract it,
It's just sticking to the Play-Doh in his bloodstream.
Yeah.
I buy vintage Play-Doh sets. Oh, it's a vintage. This is 87. This is a good year.
Changed the formula in 89, It's not the same.
But yeah, I'm not saying I ever ate the slime, but like as a kid, I can remember not trusting myself around. I was like, I don't want to be handling anything that
it's one of those things where like frequently things taste similar to the way they smell. And when you smell it, you're like, it's probably not going to taste good.
Ectoplasm has a pretty good smell though. That still hangs into this day.
This guy.
It's like
I'll just like eat
Put a straw in it.
like a slime gourmand.
Exactly. I'll just a sommelier. I'll just like swirl it around in a wine glass.
Beautiful bouquet.
You know, you can reactivate it after it turns into powder.
I like to introduce some like nutty, oaky tones
with a hint of cherry.
I find that the blue has almost a fruity, jubilant quality.
Here's the thing. Look at the blue of this ectoplasm. You can't tell me that
no argument there.
That tastes like blueberry.
No argument there. I would love to actually see that slime. I'll bet it does actually look delicious. I say that about translucent figures all the time. For sure.
Yellow, I probably would avoid because that'd probably be like lemon. I wasn't a big lemon.
Yeah.
Yellow is also just that is not Ghostbusters Ecto color. Like blue, sure. The pinkish. I mean, Ghostbusters 2. Yeah, we all know that surprised there's no green. Not seeing it
because I think it was a legal thing with Mattel. Mattel had slime and the name slime, so you couldn't even call this slime.
Yes. Well, I was wondering because you guys were talking about like why was Slimer called the Green Ghost? Could that have something like is all slime related things a trademark owned by Mattel? So
maybe that's why they didn't do it. It's funny enough. Like I asked Craig for the book if they like uncovered it, and the best they had was that he wasn't called Slimer until the show, and they were making these toys before the show came out. All they had was that pilot to go off of. But still, we'll see a bit later. Like after the show, they're still calling it Green Ghost.
Yeah, and they had rebranded to Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters because he was such a popular character. You would think that they would have the packaging reflect that if they could.
And other things were branded as Slimer. So maybe I don't know, Dan. What do you think? Any theories?
Well, I also think it's funny that there was a game called the Green Ghost game.
Yes,
back in the 60s.
Unrelated. Yeah.
Oh.
But I've just looked it up. That was by Transogram, who I don't think exists.
Of course,
in the 80s. I don't think.
I think that
Hasbro.
And I think it was like in the 80s and 90s that like the toy companies got really interested in like trademarking everything.
Yes.
Like what Transformers is like mostly just like a way to trademark random names. G.I. Joe probably too.
But I don't think I've seen blue open before. I never owned it. I don't think I've ever seen the yellow. I've ever seen it. And these are so expensive now, but maybe I'll stumble into one day. All right, this next one here, the Proton pack.
Yeah.
An absolutely legendary role play toy. I have stories, but Alex, did you have the Proton pack as a kid?
I did. It was a source of great frustration.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because
it's like, even for a kid, I mean, I don't know, maybe I did it wrong.
Okay.
But like even as a kid, it was just like too small. It kind of was like like the straps weren't right. Like it kind of like it never felt like right. And all I wanted to do as a kid was to like be able to reach back and pull out the proton blaster like they do on the show. So like I was like, I gotta get my proton pack. I'm gonna reach behind me and do it just like on the show. I could never make it work. I couldn't get it to like clip right. When I went to reach back, it's like the whole thing moved. I could not pull off this maneuver.
It didn't have that front strap at all.
I don't know if I even like had the wherewithal as a kid to like wear it right, like I just always remember it was like like it was like weird back there. It was, it was the whole thing.
Maybe I had a similar issue as a kid, but there was a certain point where my mom adjusted it and it worked just fine. And and I had it I still have it. I still have my childhood Proton pack. To this day, I had it hang up on my wall for a long time. That's what the back is. So yeah, I still own my
the Triforce symbol.
Yeah, up there. Caution. And then this thing worked great for me, but I had similar issues with the straps. You can see here, but I think my dad or somebody just like said, come here, and taped it. Like
nice.
And then remember this brown tape that everybody used back then? So it's still on there. It's still taped on there.
Well, hey, if I had the tape back then, I probably would have been able to make it work. but
so there's evidence I had issues too, because it's sewn in here, and then I think my mom or dad tied it and then taped it together here, and then the straps, I think they kind of just forced them in up here. They never really used them the right way, but it worked. Like for me, it worked just fine. So there's two ways you could do the gun. You could kind of hang it this way, and then you could hang it kind of the
like on
movie
the
style.
show. Yeah. But
Yeah,
you're telling me you were able to.
All the time. Let's see.
Wow.
Yeah. So okay, I got that behind.
Yeah, showing off.
Okay, here we go. So it's behind me now, and then take it off. Oh, that's Sam.
Oh man.
Come on.
I haven't thought about that sound in years.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to do. Ha! I did it. Look, Ma.
Well, yeah, sure. Now that you're, an adult, like I couldn't
watching it on the screen.
When I was a kid.
Okay. I'm not saying I did it perfectly every time, but you could relatively do it. And then it had a little spot here, because this set gave you the armband, which usually have. I don't have it right here. But anyways, a little armband, a little ID card. You had the Proton pack, and then you had the PKE meter.
Oh yeah, I loved that.
And you had this little, wheel. It's very simple. We had a little wheel back here, and then you could just spin it like so.
Brilliant.
And then a little clip so you could put on your belt if you wanted to. And then also you could store it up here on the back.
Oh.
So,
yeah. I'm remembering that.
You could walk around.
And it would just like fall off everywhere you went. It's like
I never had that problem with it.
I hope I'm vindicated in the comments of people being like, "Oh, I could never make it work either."
Me and this Proton pack, baby, we've been through a lot together.
I guess I was like the Lewis Tully as a kid.
Somebody let me in. No, I've had this since at least 1988, if not, it came out in 88. I had this. I have video proof of it on my birthday at Chuck E. Cheese, March 1988.
We believe you, Jay.
No, I have video. I'll show the video, okay? No, actually, if you watch my Hasbro Proton Pack review, I include a clip of baby me from that birthday party in that video.
Nice.
But that Proton Pack I had in that video is this one right here. And I love it to death. You can't really see it, but my dad owned a mailboxes, etc., and I stamped his fax stamp right there. It says fax right on there. It probably won't show, but it's faded over the years. But
it's that classic kid thing of still wanting to mess up the thing you love.
Just stamp it.
Yeah.
And then this is not my original foam, but it did come with a foam attachment to the blaster, and then you could plug it into there, and then you could be like,
such good times. I do remember that. Yeah,
this is awesome.
And it was kind of a bendy foam, right? Or
kind of, it kind of got curved in the box, and then you could straighten it out. I feel like mine was pretty straight by the time when I played with it. But it's foam, like eventually just got torn apart. Like I would use this thing as like a cowboy lasso. I'd use it as
that thing got I'm pretty sure I bit chunks out of it. Like that's
I'm sure this one has bite marks on it from
this episode, toys we ate.
Yeah, no, there's a theme I'm realizing.
I shoot a lot.
I guess that we'll address that in shows going forward. How delicious was this line?
We're not done with we're also not done with the 1988 Ghostbusters figures I chewed on as a kid. So not by a long shot.
So early releases of this, 88 ones. This is not. It's just blue. It's just blue plastic. Later ones, they had a red little paint on the outside edge right here.
So you get shot by a cop?
I guess.
So you wouldn't think it was a real proton blast?
Yeah, I don't know why, but this sound, this little,
yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, and the tension of it too. Like, yeah, it's
It
well made toy.
I collect toy guns, and I have a couple ray guns that like make that sound. They have the same mechanism built into it. Yeah.
And so I opened that one up at one point in time just to look at it. It's just a little piece of like plastic, and then there's like a little, cog with like little teeth on it, and just goes across it.
Yeah.
And then the PKE meter clicks as well.
I love that. The little button, the little knob.
This is an ASMR podcast now.
God, we had it too good. Like we had too good as kids.
Like there's no electronics there. No electronics needed.
Yeah.
But if they had electronics, they would have been even better. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, a touch screen PKE meter.
But I love this set. I think it's one of the great. I could argue. Is this the best role play toy of all time?
Pilot error aside, yeah, I'd say so. Because the PKE clips in the
you got a PKE meter, Proton pack, a little plastic armband so you could look like a Ghostbuster, an ID card saying you're a Ghostbuster, the foam stream that plugs in. Maybe a lightsaber toy, but like Dan, what's you weigh in here because you're not.
I'm trying to think. I don't recall even having that many role play toys. So I got to give Ghostbusters credit right out of the gate for having a large amount of role play stuff included in the line at all.
Yeah.
When I think of like Batman toy lines, there were definitely like cowls and batarangs and all kinds of utility belts and stuff. I definitely remember there was a RoboCop set where you got the helmet and
I had that one
and whatever. But yeah, I'd have to do some research to see what was really out there. Nothing really jumps out, but I would bet Ghostbusters at the top anyway, near the top.
People in the comment section, let us know.
Yeah.
Sound off.
When you guys were talking about like kind of analyzing the appeal of Ghostbusters, like I think part of it is like the Proton pack, the trap, it is so brilliant. Such a cool, it is a lightsaber level. You just look at it and instinctively you're like, yes, that is cool.
Yes.
It's a backpack with a hose that shoots out a beam that is a lasso that you can grab onto a ghost and then suck it into a trap. And it's like, as a kid, you're just like, yes,
right?
How do I do that?
Yes.
That's me. I need to do that. And so the idea that of course it works perfectly for role play, where it's like, yeah, you're the Ghostbuster, you and three of your friends, run around your town, try to find a ghost to trap. Like, it's great. It's brilliant.
I will say it's almost like a travesty that the trap didn't come out until 1990. That's wild. We'll get into that. I think it's at 1989. And because you're right, like the playability factor is huge because the Proton pack and the PKE meter is just perfect. It works great. You can pretend, you're searching like, oh my God, what's down here? I don't know. And then you got the blaster or whatever, and then the trap, like you can roll it out, it has wheels. You step on it, the door opens up. There's
a process that you're taught on the show that you can then interact or reenact as a kid, and that's like very, I think, satisfying at a certain age to be like, on the show it's like they do the same sequence of things to get the ghost. Like,
agreed.
I also just want to point out how great this that ghost on the box is. He's just like, he was just like minding his own business. Like, oh crap, it's the Ghostbusters. Oh guys, come on, leave me alone.
Well, and they clearly have their wands are turned down to like 1. They're just zapping him in the butt. They're not trying to actually catch him.
Razzing him.
Ow, stop it. Yeah.
And they're even laughing. They're harassing this poor guy. Minding his own. Oh, I'm going already. Jeez.
This is old Grape Gus. He's good practice, kid. Let's give him a couple zaps.
Yeah. We'll give the kid this one. The kid's missing, by the way.
Yes.
This is like me going after a ghost.
I will say I had this kid's haircut in 1988.
Oh, well, yeah. We all grew up with that haircut. I did anyway.
Standard issue.
Standard issue bowl cut.
Yeah, exactly. Alex, you have a bit of curl to your hair. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it would not have been. It would not have been that. I was more of like an Egon movie. Egon.
Egon kind of coiffed today.
Yeah, you know,
keep
it on theme.
I love it. Looks good.
I thought he had more of a young George Lucas thing going on.
Ooh, for sure.
Especially with the plaid shirt.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
But Proton Pack, great. Okay, let's talk about it. Firehouse headquarters. Again, one of the all-time great play sets that has a lot of flaws. Okay, look at me. I'm being not so biased, Jay. I do think it has a lot of flaws, but I don't care because I think it's one of the most
What are the flaws? Tell me what the flaws are.
All right, the flaws. Number one, you have 3 levels to this building. You have no stairs or any way to get up to the second or third floor.
Well, you've got one way.
You can't go up. You don't go up a fire pole.
That's what the little way they give a little elevator. The
elevator?
That's how you get up. Because then they just slide down the fire pole.
I mean, I guess. I just imagine there was an extension to this that I'm just not seeing, and I just
yeah.
So that's one issue. The second issue is there's no basement, so the containment unit, which is a great toy feature, just has to like sit outside or sit in the garage if there's Ecto's not there, or maybe you put it in the attic or the 3rd floor, which is what I usually did as a kid. Either way, doesn't really work, but I'm glad they threw it in there. The third big issue is that the Firehouse, while it has a door big enough for the Ecto 1, the Ecto 1 does not fit inside of the Firehouse with the doors closed.
Oh. Yeah. But you can push it like it just will kind of go stick out the back, right?
But if say you had it on the table, it'll just keep rolling because it's kind of on an incline. Or on the floor, or if you close the doors, it'll just push it out. And
you need to have like little grooves that the wheels could lock into.
It does have grooves. It does have wheel grooves, but the problem is when you have them centered on the wheel grooves, the car sits outside of the Firehouse.
Yeah, but just imagine that's just the rest of the Firehouse.
Again, I think it looks cool with the Ecto 1 coming out of the Firehouse, like the iconic scene in the first film. But and the other thing, even though the doors themselves are pretty large, if you have the gunner seat on the Ecto 1, it can't make it through the door. You have to have the gunner seat.
So you hate it, Jay. No, we get it. It's the worst thing ever made.
I'm just trying to show that I will admit when there's flaws. But aside from those flaws, to me, this was an indestructible. I still have it. I still have my vintage, but I lost all the pieces. So I eventually found all the pieces and put them back on there. But the shell of this thing is, I think, indestructible. It is such a powerhouse of a structure that it survived my turbulent childhood of mini moves and being beat up by my younger sisters and all this sort of stuff. It endured. And
I remember sitting on climbing on mine. Like, I think they realized like kids are gonna want to climb on this thing. Like, it's got to be like structurally sound. It
is. Thing's a tank. The only bummer is like the doors can be brittle. Everyone loses the sign. The pole gets lost. This is another one that I'll hoard accessories to if I find them. So currently I have 5 of the signs extra. I have 2 extra poles. I have 3 extra of the containment unit. And I have a whole bunch of doors, but I think most of them, at least one of the tab, is broken. In the early days,
cornering the market on Firehouse stuff.
It's a compulsion thing, like Proton Pack.
It is. Yeah.
I lost them, and it would just bug the shit out of me. Like the early days of eBay, if someone just had a lot of Ghostbuster parts or something, I would bid on it and buy it for like nothing, like $10, $15. And so I would just sit. And even now, if I'm digging in through parts bins and stuff, and I see a part, I'm like, cool, adding that one to the box.
Got backups for the backups.
Yeah, I don't. And smart me would probably try and complete Firehouse playsets and sell them, but no, I don't do that.
It's one of those playsets like the slime pit from Masters of the Universe that has slime interactivity that I never, ever, ever would have utilized because I didn't want slime on my action figures. I didn't want to have to deal with A, the cleanup, and B, the loss of slime over time, right? Like the more you use it, the more you lose. And this would have been an absolute nightmare for me.
Yeah.
Pouring slime down through the through those vents on the top of it.
Yeah.
And it's getting on all the different layers and the figures and the stickers. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Never have happened.
The stickers, yeah.
So we have Dan's opinions here, and I think that's valid, Dan. I appreciate you sharing them. Alex, you didn't like slime, so I guess you didn't do it either. The greats.
Well, I had the majority of my Ghostbusters collection came from sort of like a legendary flea market find that my parents we were in Cape Cod at a well-known flea market, flea market, and this person had like a ton of real Ghostbuster stuff, 2 firehouses, an Ecto one, like a bunch of the figures, a bunch of the ghosts, and my dad was like, he was really enticed by the opportunity to just have like a whole collection for my brother and I all at once. And I think I talked to him about recently. I think he said he paid $20 for like all this stuff.
Nice.
But so 2 fire as a kid, like and like
that was my dream because then you could be full-size Firehouse.
Exactly, and that's what I thought it was. So for the longest time, I thought that was like the whole play set. And I was trying to figure out kind of like how because like
connect. Yeah,
one Firehouse had all the stuff, and the other one was just like the shell. You know, I think that's why it was like part of the bargain. But so I was trying to figure out like how they connect and how they line up. I don't think it was missing like the containment unit. Only one of the buildings had like the sign and the doors and stuff.
That works perfect because you just need like a second one just to be the back. It doesn't need extra.
Pretty much. And the Ecto one that I got was like it had nothing, no chair, like no, it was fake. It was already like yellowed. But I didn't like know of that was like my first exposure to this toy period, to this playset. So I didn't really know like what all the features were supposed to be. I didn't have the box with so I didn't know that you were supposed to drip slime down through those like vents. I thought it was just like a skylight. So yeah, I never did that with the slime.
Okay, the greats were 2-parters for me. Okay, number 1, the slime, and I did use it. And I still look up in there sometimes, and you see little flecks and flakes of slime gone by. That's still in there to this day. And to me, that was like, God, I'm just going back in time. Look at that. That time I poured slime down this.
Slime time.
But I will say, for those that didn't want to ruin their toys or their playsets, 1, no Ghostbuster toy was flocked or furry like a Masters of the Universe figure could be in the slime pit. So that's part 1. Secondly, the greats. So you had on the roof, and then that kind of top floor. The second floor was already kind of open, as you can see. It's like an L shape, and then the floor. There's no stickers there. So if you drop the slime, it's not gonna ruin any of the stickers. So the stickers are on the walls. None of them are on the floors.
I'm not doing it, Jay. I don't care what you say.
Really selling this slime.
He's really pushing hard. Just try it once.
Just don't knock it till you try it.
Don't deprive yourself of that life experience.
One time.
I will say that it looks
my Firehouse, and you can try it out. And no risk to you.
I'll do it at your birthday party.
There you go. Okay, so that's part 1 of what I loved about these greats. Part 2, what happens at the end of Ghostbusters? They open up, they turn off the containment unit, and the ghost blasts out of the center of the Firehouse. So I would take a flashlight and just turn on the flashlight in the middle, and it would be like glowing out of the middle, and that was when the ghosts would get out.
Gotcha.
That's brilliant.
That's clever.
That's
smart.
Right?
Yeah. You earned your place as a Ghostbusters fan.
I spent so many hours with this thing. Out of all the places, this is the one I spent the most time with. And even if I had a different interest, I turned this thing into a mall one time. Each floor is a different store. Like I repurposed it a million times. I turned the top into like an amusement park one time. Like it molded into so many things for me from when I got it in 1988 till still to this day. But like, even into the 90s, this set just could be anything.
They managed to sell a dollhouse to boys.
Exactly. There's a lot of girls' toys I loved, and dollhouses. They always pissed me off that they had such cool houses.
I know. There's that one where it's like there had an actual lamp that you could turn on with a button. I remember seeing that commercial as a kid and being like, I want a lamp you can turn on.
I had two sisters. I had two sisters, so like I would play Barbies with them because I'm like, all right, cool. I get to play this cool Barbie dream house. There's like slides and pools and closets for your clothes. That's so cool.
Yeah. I feel like that. If I had to have to criticize the Firehouse, it not enough stuff. It's like all the floors. They got all the floors, which is great, but they're very bare.
Yeah,
like
no furniture.
No furniture would have been nice, but I also think like opportunities for like play features. Playsets gotta have like trap doors and like secret walls and like a bookcase that can like rotate and there's a ghost behind it. Like I feel like, obviously I'm sure this was a very costly playset to produce at the time, but I could see it being loaded up with more bells and whistles in terms of like haunting in the ghost house.
Yeah, every playset is just like a playset. It's like a sampler, right? Like you're just getting pieces of things. It's obviously not to scale, but it really pushes your imagination. Castle Grayskull is the same way. It's just a shell with 2 floors, but the whole open backside is the rest of the castle, right? Like you fill that in with your imagination.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe headquarters the same way. All of it. It's just like implied activities, implied things, and you got to supply them.
Oh wait, I get why Dan hates this playset. No jail.
Technically the containment unit is a jail.
You're right.
There's no trap door.
Well, I will say the containment unit. So you have the little trap on the top. So you put the companion ghost
down into it. Yep.
Yeah, and you like put it on the top and like slid in, and then they kind of they open the door and it went. Yeah, you're right. No true trap door. I will agree. It doesn't have the classic things. No trapdoor.
But it is a classic playset, no doubt. It's a striking profile. It's further. It's neat that it's based on like an actual building in New York City.
Yeah.
I went to it again, and every time I go to Hook and Ladder 8,
it's really neat.
It's just it just does something to you. Hit you inside. And now that they have the sign there hooked up, just like the movie,
so perfect, so cool.
The commercial for the Firehouse is also just amazing. Like all the Ghostbuster toy ads are great. Really? This one's like so cinematic, like the way they show that slime coming down from the sea. Like it's very cool. Very fun.
Do yourself a favor, YouTube, search it up. It's so good. So good. All right. We had the haunted humans. So you had the hard hat horror ghost, male fraud ghost. You had Granny Gross,
classic,
and the Terror Trash Ghost. I had all of these. Alex, any of these did you have that you just fell in love with?
I had the Granny Ghost, which was cool because the whole it was a very grisly transformation. Like the whole front comes down.
Yeah, hold on, I got her here. Hold on.
It's just got the third eye thing.
Yeah. So what this too is in the Firehouse, there is a portrait of this Granny Gross inside the Firehouse. But yeah, so you have her here. She kind of looks like the Queen of England a little bit. Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, a little bit. Very generic old lady.
Yeah. So you twist the hat, and so you have a third eye, and then her eyes kind of pop out, and then you press it down, and her eyes kind of pop in and out. And then you pull her legs out, and then it opens up, and then she has this.
That is legitimately terrifying. Yeah,
it's so. I mean,
here I've got candy for you.
It's great. Like I like this. So I feel like this transforming ghosts in disguise kind of thing must come from like the library ghost
Yes.
sequence in the movie where it's like, oh, it's like a human, but then it turns into like a more gross monster. But I also feel like for like kids, like it is again like a perfect thing to because like when you're a kid, it's all about like what kind of power can you get, and like having a secret is like a good way to have power because it's like knowledge that only you have. So it's like, oh, you think this is a toy of just like an old woman? Well, I know it's secretly a horrible monster. Like
that's part of Transformers success.
Yeah.
You knew how to change them, and your parents didn't.
Yeah.
My great grandmother, she was an Italian woman and very, classic, like anxious, would get kind of scared, wouldn't even go in elevators, afraid of driving, all that kind of stuff. So I used to torture her with these.
Hey, Grandma, look. Oh, Jay, take that away from me. It's evil.
But it's just, she'd curse at me in Italian. So bad.
Gave you exactly what you wanted.
Exactly.
Grandma, just a toy. It's just, get out of here.
Live on that.
Oh, Jay, you son of a bitch.
It's
Your
that
hate
little
makes me stronger.
that little taste of power over your adult oppressors,
Oh, Grandma Lena, rest in peace. She lived to 104.
Oof.
Wow.
So even with me terrorizing her in the 80s, she still hung in there for a while. All right. I had them all except for the male.
Male fraud.
But I still have my hard hat horror. That's the only one.
He's the weakest.
Yeah. I gotta admit.
He's kind of weird.
The wings coming out of the side of the legs, and that tiny head in human form. You're like, that's a monster. Don't
it's
even.
very Beetlejuice holdover.
And his bat face is kind of square. That kind of always bugged me. The one I loved and was this.
That one's great. Yeah,
Terror Trash, because the wings are translucent. And the head pops out. Just a really cool transformation.
Yeah. Those wingtips got chewed.
Oh yeah, they did.
Like nothing else.
Okay. Alex, this is our flavor profile here. Did you chew the little nibs on the end of your wings?
Yeah, the little nibs on the end of the wings. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I love this figure because of the animation quality. Because it's like he's holding a trash can that he then puts on his head and reveals that he's this like horrible praying mantis thing, and revealing that like claw mouth. Like, I loved this toy as a kid.
It was so good. And the thing is like, it's a piece of translucent green plastic for the head, but when it's on the trash side, it is like just trash in there, and it's in the green. And it just looks so cool. And then put it on his head. It's so good. So It's a great one. All right. So wave 4, we finally got a Janine figure. Fright features Janine. I vividly remember getting this one Target in El Cajon, California in 1988. And I just remember being just overjoyed to get a Janine figure. But I would agree, like, it's underwhelming as a sculpt compared to the finally getting just a regular version in the Power Pack Heroes. But did you have this one, Alex?
I did. I think this was one of the yard sale or the flea market ones.
Nice.
But the hair like flipped up. The first Janine I really liked was the
Screaming Hero?
the one with the leg spin. That was like I thought that was a really, because I was like, I don't know, felt more like the show or whatever.
Yeah, a little more just kind of like how she looked on the show. What was cool too is this was a rooted haired companion ghost. So it was the translucent plastic but has rooted hair, and then her thing was like a comb that like stuck in the hair of the ghost.
Do you think that was
really like one female figure? You still had to have hair play involved.
Exactly.
Well, do you think that was like a Kenner inside joke that they're like, okay, well, it's gonna come with like her weapon's gonna be a comb,
I really thought like, oh, this is the one the girls can buy or something.
Yeah, they're gonna want to comb the ghost's hair. Great. I think this figure looks like Nancy Pelosi.
It kind of does. It kind of does look like Nancy Pelosi. I just remember my dog Snapper chewed the top of her hair off on mine. Just that little flip that flipped up kind of got chewed up. But I never used the accessory. I just had her, and I would use a Proton pack. But I just wish they would have put the plugs on the back still for all the Fright features.
Yeah.
You could still use a Proton pack maybe. But again, this was solved for with the Power Pack Hero. She got a Proton pack hole, even though she came with a little scooter, but she could use a Proton.
Yeah,
pack.
I loved that Janine. That was definitely a favorite figure.
I don't know if you're watching this, but you best give us an Ecto Glow Janine. Just saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Make it happen.
What's that ghost's name?
The ghost name is what?
Titter? Tickler, I think, which isn't much better, really.
I think it says Titter.
Fright feature.
Oh yeah, so it's like an optical illusion based on the way the font looks. Like, yeah, it looks like Titter sometimes, but then if you think Tickler and look at it,
Tidd, Titter. I don't think it says
Titt.
Yeah, no, I think it's T. But is it Tickler?
Yeah, it's Tickler, but the C, the C, L, and the K it's like two D's.
Hold on, it is Tickler.
Yeah, it's an optical illusion.
Yeah, here we go. Tickler.
Oh, there.
It does look like
that really drops into two D's.
It really does.
Titter Ghost.
It's so close together.
Titter with the double D's.
I like that they trademark. They trademarked
the name Tickler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenner,
it was all just an excuse to trademark words.
They trademarked Tickler.
That's why G.I. Joe couldn't use it.
We can't have slime. Well, you can't have Tickler.
Ticklor, he was out in Masters of the Universe.
It's too close. It's too close. Luckily they solved it in time for Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah.
I do like that picture of Janine with the eyes bugging out. It reminds me of the like eye looking emoji.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Tickler.
A truly grotesque ghost.
Oh my god, we had more Gooper ghosts with again Green Ghost.
Yeah. Can't trademark that Slimer, so don't even bother. But Green Ghost is trademarked, right?
No, it is, but look, it says known as Slimer in the TV series The Real Ghostbusters. So they still put
weird.
Okay.
Known as Slimer. It has to be some weird copyright thing, right?
Yeah, and Slimer's in quotes.
It is. Maybe it is a Mattel slime copyright thing.
That definitely feels like a legal negotiation at work.
Huh. It's wild. So this is the second Slimer we've gotten in the line. Looks much more like the Slimer from the cartoon show, but is super huge. Like, it doesn't scale well.
Yeah.
Famously, there's no official release Slimer that's in scale.
Yeah.
But you know what? Slimer actually looks pretty darn good. That could maybe, better than.
His size changes on the cartoon. I think that could work. I've put it alongside the Kenner ones. Yeah, I think that works.
That's pretty good. So
I'll tell you that Sam Hain, he scales well too.
That's the so hold on, I'll go bigger size here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Kudos.
I think it works.
And yeah, again, Sam Hain gets pretty big. Like,
yeah,
could still work.
Looks good.
Looks pretty good. All right, and then let's see what else we got in this year. I think it's the so we have the Brain Blaster Ghost, which is kind of rare now. It's kind of valuable. It's hard to find these in working condition because the spring breaks on these. So basically it's a little head and you roll it and these 4 little pieces of a brain pop out.
Yeah. It's like a toaster, but with brains and a head.
Yeah, little brain chunks. So that one's hard to find. I have owned it, but I don't know where mine is. So it's probably somewhere.
That was part of the flea market bargain for me.
Oh, was it? Okay, nice.
That was a yard sale. I got rid of that guy, but that was one where I wasn't sure if it was a Ghostbusters thing, but
a little different for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, you'd roll them in the brains. And what's so his brains are also ghosts.
Yes.
Like,
Mhm.
what is the logic of this guy?
Mm,
You
mhm.
know.
You don't need logic. Cool. I love the colors of it. It does the sculpting on the face of the Brain Blaster is kind of different from the other ghosts for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to find this one in working condition and just in general. I don't see it that often. One that I do see a bit is the Pulse Speed Ahead Ghost, which I do have an example here. And it has that, classic, you put in this like the Tron light cycles or however many others.
Road Ripper from Masters of the
Ripper.
Universe.
So you put it in as this big rubber wheel.
Drag store.
Yeah, when you pull it, but I don't know if this one still works, but it has a little flint in there, so it should spark, I believe. Let's see.
Ooh.
That's
A little bit.
I did a little bit. But anyways, there you go. Road Ripper. But some company knocked these off. So there's a lot of knockoffs of this mold in like different colors and stuff like that you can find for the Speed Ahead Ghost.
That to me is like the quintessential Kenner ghost toy aesthetic. Like if that's like if I have to picture a Kenner Real Ghostbusters ghost, it's that. It's like, pulling the mouth back with his little hands, like the sort of big features, sneakers, why not? Like the colors,
He's cool. And then let's see, what else do we got for this year as we're rounding things out? Oh, we got our vehicles. We had the Ecto 2 and the Highway Haunter. I had both of these. The Ecto 2, the only other vehicle that we got in the toy line that was in the TV show. Ecto 2 was in the TV show a whole bunch. This one was a little bit smaller. It only had one seat. The one on the show usually had two seats. But still, I love this vehicle. It had a working, rent, whatever little winch thing. Winch.
Winch is the rope. Wench is the girl.
So winch.
Yeah, winch.
WINCH. Winch.
Can you imagine if it came with a wench?
Winch. But you could activate it and deactivate it. So you like clip it in if you wanted to use it or unlock it if you didn't. Had a little bomb. The seatbelt always breaks on those things. It's hard to find with a complete seatbelt that's broken. But it could be in vehicle mode. It can have helicopter mode. Simple little toy, but god dang, it was just I love that little thing. Alex, did you have this one?
My friends had it. And yeah, it was cool for sure. Kind of has like it's like when like the turtle blimp thing detaches. Like it kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, and featured heavily on the cartoon show. And like really cool to have like another vehicle.
I don't know how long or how deep you can get into Real Ghostbusters, and I want an Ecto 1, but it'd be really cool to do a cool like show accurate Ecto 2. That would be the coolest freaking thing
for sure. Because again, it's like just put that no ghost logo on any vehicle. Like it's all works. Put on a lawnmower. It's cool.
It's good. I'm in.
I feel like this should have ducked somehow with the Ecto 1. Like I feel like the Ecto 1 should launch it. It should fold up into a box and plug in the back or sit on the top or somehow.
In the cartoon, it does fold up and they put it in the back of the Ecto 1.
But this one was too big. With what they did with mask and stuff, they could have engineered it to somehow work that way. But it's too big to fit in there now. But yeah, that would have been cool if they could have pulled that off. Almost like the handle to do the trigger propellers too big.
The trade-off there. Right.
But I agree. There was just that was the one knock I had. It's just it wouldn't fit in the car because that's how they would use it in the show. Even though it defied the laws of physics and like space because it would be tiny in the Ecto 1 and come out and be a pretty decent size 2-seater helicopter.
It does feel like it almost should have had like at least another kind of road vehicle that it would like plug into to form one.
Or at the bit, like you can take that seat off the top of the Ecto 1. Like if it could have just somehow plugged onto there,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. what's cool about the seat is it sat as like a third seater in the back of the Ecto one when you had it in there. But yeah, I will say this is again one of the rare items in the toy line that was in the show. So you have the Ecto 2, the Ecto 1, Stay Puft, Slimer, the 4 Ghostbusters in their classic suits. And that's it, I believe, from the cartoon show that made it into the toy line.
Although I will say a lot of the little Kenner ghosts do show up in like the background shots. Like they're in if you look hard enough, they're in a lot of the Real Ghostbusters episodes. So in some form or another.
Look very closely. Maybe that could be a ghost in the future of the toy line, Alex. Who knows? Maybe. This one, they remember getting this one. I think I mentioned last time I got the Slimer going to my one of my mom's figure skating competitions. I also got a Highway Haunter one time on going to a figure skating competition. I still have mine. It survived to this day. It's sitting up there in my display. What I loved about this one, it was a Beetle, Volkswagen Beetle, officially licensed Volkswagen Beetle, which is pretty cool. Second, Janine's car in the show was a Beetle. Wasn't always necessarily directly like this, but it could, like, hey, it's Janine's car. Third, it was a car that did fit into the Firehouse. The wheel base was about the same size, so it kind of lock into the little grooves on at least one of them. So you could put it in the Firehouse, close the doors. What was also really cool is it had a little notches on the back of where the convertible thing was down the roof. You could put the Proton packs and click them into there.
Oh, wow.
You had a place for the Proton packs. It had a little motor in the back that was a ghost.
Yeah.
And then the transformation into the Mantis thing.
So cool.
Such a cool. I really love this vehicle. It took the Fright features and brought it to a vehicle. I love the Highway Haunter. Did you have this one, Alex?
I didn't, but it's so iconic, and I have a very specific memory of seeing this for the first time. I was at like a birthday party in preschool, or maybe younger. I don't know. I think it was. I guys remember it being like the birthday of like a girl I had a crush on, and her older brother that had this toy. And all I remember is like being at another kid's house and seeing this thing and being like knowing that you're there for birthday stuff, but like, what's that? What's going on with that? Oh, it turns into a praying mantis. I know we're supposed to do birthday stuff, but like, oh, maybe could Highway Haunter come with us?
So good. And it still looks cool to this day. My son, my youngest, who got into Ghostbusters for a while and loves Volkswagen Beetles, I got him his own, so he still has one in his Firehouse in his room. Dan, do you feel anything for the Highway Haunter, at least in retrospect?
So I put a link in chat just now in our private chat here to a Ghostbusters GoBots wiki listing for scales. This thing always reminded me of Scales. It is a they're brother sister, kind of joined by their engineering almost. The Highway Haunter is much better, much more effective. But yeah, it always reminds me of this guy.
Yeah, it's like if he and Bumblebee had a baby.
Yeah, gross.
Can you imagine?
Exactly. I always think of this guy whenever I see it. I think of this weird, like, created by Tonka kind of thing. Lizard guy called Scales.
It has. Oh well,
it's kind of a rare. It's one of those great Transformers where it's just all in one motion.
It
transforms itself.
This isn't something that they brought over from Popey or anything like this. This was just like, we need more stuff to put in this line, and Popey's like, we don't have anything else.
When did this come out?
I don't see the date. 84.
84. Okay, yeah. So because the transformation is very similar to the Highway Haunter too. Like the front wheels pull under, it sits up and kind of goes forward like that. It definitely has to be an influence for sure.
I think so.
What a generic name, Scales. Like that's the best they could come up with. It's exactly. like everything else is like some pun. It's like it could be like Flip Side or something. It's like.
No.
It's a snake, snakes have scales.
Snake car? How about snake car?
Yeah.
Snake car. That'd been cooler. That'd been
scales. Otherwise, I see Highway Haunter a lot at flea markets.
Yeah, a
And,
ton of them.
it's one of those more common pieces, and not as broken as you would expect it to be. Usually, it holds up pretty well.
Yeah, it does. It usually the only issue I've seen is sometimes that front little flip with the head and the front that sometimes that breaks off.
Mhm.
But other than that, sometimes the mechanisms get a little clunky. But yeah, they hold up pretty well. Like in my
And it's a
son,
pretty good looking beetle.
it is. It's
Yeah.
licensed. Like they did a good job.
I want one. I
Um,
gotta be on the lookout for one.
you gotta pick one of these bad boys out. It's a great, especially with the Fright features. It's the Fright features car, really, because it turns into a ghost praying mantis. And they aren't that expensive. Like
No, yeah.
recently bought a mint in box one at a toy show for not that much money, and I still see him every now and then. A mint in box, and then loose as well, loosey goosey.
Less than between $90 and $140.
Much less than that. Maybe at like I don't know. San Diego Comic-Con, but these prices are all kind of high. And I think that's it. That's 1988's Real Ghostbuster toys. Final thoughts on a year of great Ghostbusters. Dan, we'll let you go first.
Oh, what a year of great Ghostbusters. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's great. It's a lot of stuff. It's a classic line. It's still, like I said, for me, it's tough because I didn't really have that connection to Ghostbusters, and I really, really, really wasn't into action features. It's something that I wrestle with when Toy Biz really starts to get deep into that X-Men and Spider-Man and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're still putting action features in there, and I'm like, oh God, I want all these figures, but if that action feature gets too much in the way of the actual character and the posability and stuff, I'm still dreaming of a world where Marvel Legends exist. But it's all incredible. I'm in awe of the engineering of the toy design aspect of Ghostbusters and how much they really incorporated, like I said, that sort of Tex Avery exaggerated character reactions and stuff into an actual physical toy that works on such a small scale, like you said, Alex, like they're watchmakers or something. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really, really cool. Is your icy heart melted a little bit more?
Oh no, I still hate it. It's still I'll still never own any of it.
Oh man.
For a while I did have the Ecto 1, and I was selling toys, so
Sure.
you sell an Ecto 1, you get a nice clean shiny white one, so good stickers and stuff. So I had an Ecto 1, the core 4 Ghostbusters, and a Firehouse, and then at a certain point I was like, well, this just doesn't really fit where my collecting and my collection is, so we can go. And then I had the first set of Diamond movie based Ghostbusters, with the rooftop diorama and stuff.
But,
cool. Same thing. I was like, no, I just don't need these.
I feel like eventually you're doing this series, something's gonna grab your attention, because there's something for there's color change, there's glow in the dark, there's
for
Transformers,
all the companion ghosts are translucent. That's like a Dan Larson hallmark.
Look, I'm sure I have some in my bin somewhere. It's not on my shelves right now.
Win time. We're only second year in. We got time.
Right.
We got time. Alex, final thoughts on 88.
Sorry, I'm allergic to Dan's hate for Ghostbusters. No, but I mean, you said it perfectly, Dan. It's like there's so much creativity in this wave. Like it really feels like Kenner doing what they do best. Like so many fun ideas, all of the mech tech, the play interaction. It's just like they really were clearly engaged with the concept of scares and twists, and what you see isn't what you get. It's there's always some fun surprise with this year of figures. And then the Firehouse playset, the Proton pack, just iconic toy items from toy history. Agreed. I feel like this, the Kenner Real Ghostbusters is it's part of that. That's part of why I was so inspired years later to kind of do my try to bring it back, because I mean it's toy history. It's one of the greatest lines of the 80s. And it's great. This is why it's so fun.
I wish I could squeeze these legs though. And It's the only note I
It,
know.
it lands. Ghostbusters lands in a real weird spot in terms of sort of toy eras, right? Like GI Joe was kind of on the downside. Transformers was kind of on the downside. Star Wars was gone.
Yeah.
All the superpowers, Secret Wars, all that stuff was gone. We're at the tail end. I'm looking at my toy year chart that I have over here, my spreadsheet I have in Excel. You're right at the end of Thundercats. You're at the end of. You're in the middle to the end of Mask. Bionic 6, Brave Star, and then all these one-hit wonders, Visionaries, Air Raiders, Spiral Zones, Bone Age, Battle Beast, Captain Power. It's almost like a clear field for real Ghostbusters. And then really all it's competing against is Ninja Turtles for a while.
But it does kind of like bridge that gap too, from like, because it's like starting into that era of like gross out toy, like which I think Ninja Turtles you can include in that, because it's like ooze and slime and like supernatural and monsters but like cartoony and funny, that sort of Mad Magazine kind of spirit that you would see in like Turtles, Toxic Avengers, or Toxic Crusaders, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Mad Balls, like all those things so it's like in Ghostbusters is like right in between that and like GI Joe and the more kind of like classic little guys with vehicles play feature.
I feel like it did really hit a certain generation of kids, right? Like the elder millennials, like those kids born in the mid 80s, that Turtles didn't really hit hard yet. And I think for boys' toys, I think Ghostbusters was the most popular through 89, and then Turtles took it over, and then it never looked back. But for a little brief period there, for a couple years, Real Ghostbusters was the preeminent popular toy. And for me, 88 is peak in my buying of it and having it. I had just about all of these in 88, of course, and the 87 toys as well. And it had plenty of 89 too, but like 88 for me is peak, just because you had the Firehouse, and it just bridged everything from 87 into 88. It's just so much stuff of those 2 years that are just iconic. And still, I think, hold up to this day. So 88 big year. I love it. And I can't wait to dive into more and slowly melt away Dan's icy heart. All right, that is gonna wrap it up. Alex, you are one of the co-hosts, or the co-host to Ryan Dole on Gotham City Tonight. That happens on Wednesdays. I think this will post tomorrow. So anything, are y'all digging into anything this week?
So if you're watching this, tune in to Gotham City Tonight tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And I don't know like what's gonna happen, so I don't know what we're gonna be talking about. But yeah, well, it should be something fun. And
tune in any Wednesday if you're listening to this months later, years later. Tune in on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dan, of course, you always have great videos on channel. Anything cool coming up that people should be excited about?
What's this week is Megas XLR. Do you know Megas XLR?
Not a clue.
Yeah, it's early 2000s. It's a Toonami series.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So giant robot, kind of a Shogun Warriors type spoof, or it's riffing on all the classic robots, Gundam and Transformers and all that stuff. And that'll.
It's like going to one of your videos where I have no clue what the hell it is, because then it's like, I don't know what's this about.
Yeah, check it out. It's an interesting one.
Awesome. All right. Thanks to Allison Choi, who does our research. We'll be back next week with 1989. We'll see you all next time. Hasta luego and goodbye.